So the hype train is real, and in this video, these 10 fragrances are worth it. So when these came out, they did well pretty much immediately, and then they kind of snowballed into some really big, popular, successful fragrances that are talked about quite a bit now. And from the outside looking in, it's easy to wonder, are they worth it? Are they really that good? And that's always going to be subjective, and it's going to vary from person to person because not everybody has the same taste. But in my personal opinion, these are worth it, and there was a good reason why these got so popular. And so we'll be going over that today. If you were on the fence about some of these, you see the reviews, you see the lists that they're being placed in all the time, and you're kind of wondering, maybe if your tastes are similar to mine and we kind of align in that way, this will give you that extra push to maybe decide to check them out. And so if you do want to pick some of these up, I will link them down below. I also want to make you aware of my community page or community tab where I'm posting deals every single day on rare, discontinued, hard to find stuff like Dolce & Gabbana The One Luminous Night, L'Homme Ideal Extreme by Guerlain, and the list goes on. There's been quite a few here recently that have shown up, Prada L'Homme Intense, and when they do, I post over there, but I also send out an email. You can hit the first link down below, sign up to my mailing list. That way you get notified when those deals come up and you won't miss out. Generally, as soon as I get a hold of a deal like that and I post about it, if it's really hot, they'll sell out within a half hour, maybe an hour, sometimes even less than that. So you gotta be on it, but I promise you, if you get subscribed to the mailing list, you're not gonna miss out as long as you get to the email in time. Givenchy Gentleman Eau de Toilette Intense. So this line is carrying a lot of momentum. There are a ton of really, really good ones in this line, and quite a few of them have been hyped up as well. And so they're kind of riding that high wave there, you know. And so as long as they keep putting out things that are really good, they're going to continue to do really well in this line. This one is no exception. Now this has iris, so we're getting it started right, but don't think of it in the way that you normally would of an iris scent, because there's also some cypress, there's some other woods in here, and the way I describe this one is it's an aromatic and woody iris fragrance. So it's not like Prada L'Homme, it's not like Dior Homme Intense, Valentino Homme Intense, or Gentleman Eau de Parfum. This is kind of on its own here in terms of being an iris scent, and so because of that, it's a little bit different, and that's part of the reason why this one ended up doing so well. So it's very clean and woody and aromatic. It's just nice and fresh, but with that nice iris in here to just break up the monotony, so to speak, and to give it a little bit of a different twist overall. So if you're after something that's very versatile, easy to wear, and a great compliment getter, this is one you should check out, and it's pretty affordable on discounters as well. This next one is Pandora Scents Charuto Tobacco Vanille. So, I mean, Tobacco Vanille is what this is a clone of by Tom Ford. And that was pretty apparent as soon as I first saw this one pop up. I thought that it would be a Tobacco Vanille clone. When I got it in and I tried it, that was 100% sure. Now this is like $22, 100 ml, and it is impressive. I gotta say, going into this, I didn't think it was gonna be this good. I thought it was gonna be decent or okay, but this is incredible. The tobacco vanilla combination here is dead on to that of Tobacco Vanille by Tom Ford, which is considerably more expensive. But there's even this nice booziness about it too, this nice kind of fizzy, almost cola fizzy booziness, kind of similar to the texture of something like Roja Enigma. It's got that little bright sparkle, and you even get it off the dry down just smelling the atomizer. This is a whole boatload of fragrance for a pretty much dirt cheap price, and because of how good it is, generally it sells out pretty quick and it stays out of stock for a while. So if you ever have the chance to get this, I would definitely get it. The bottle has this nice frosted look to it, and it's heavy. It doesn't feel like a cheapy $20 presentation piece of junk. It is impressive all the way around. Next up, we have MISSONI Parfum. So this one has a few notes like birch and lemon and grapefruit, a little bit of lavender in here as well. And now this one always gets compared to like Bleu de Chanel. I do think it's a little bit of a stretch to say it's a clone of Bleu de Chanel. In a similar vein, sure, but to me, not really a clone. There are some Bleu de Chanel clones out there. I just don't think this is really it. That being said, definitely fits into the category of a ultra wearable, woody citrus scent with maybe a little bit of a smokiness if you want to stretch it again, maybe coming from the birch, which would be somewhat similar to like the incense and Bleu de Chanel and the grapefruit combination. But ultimately, I think this one is best to be looked at on its own, because on its own, it is really good. It's also around $40 or so on discounters. You get nice custom presentation with a magnetic cap and really good, nice, solid atomizer as well. I mean, what's not to like about this? Super pleasant, super wearable, great compliment getter. Because of all of those things, and again, the price point I want to stress again, it's gotten quite a bit of hype for good reason. Now this next one's a little bit more expensive. We're talking about a niche product here, actually from one of my favorite niche brands from Kilian. It is Angel's Share. So this one has like oak, it's got cognac, there's some praline, vanilla, cinnamon, and some tonka bean in here as well. I mean, that note breakdown is probably going to either be a selling point for you or a turning around and walking away point for you, depending on what you like. You know, if you're into the boozy scents and the gourmands, this is going to be right up your alley. If you're into the freshies and aquatics and that sort of thing, then you're going to want to go the other direction. That being said, I think if you are looking to maybe dive into a boozy gourmand, this is a good place to start because it's not as heavy and extreme as some of the other Kilians in their main line. You know, the bottles that don't look like this, they're still 50 mLs, but you know, the Straight to Heavens and the Black Phantoms and what is it, Apple Brandy or Apple Brandy? Yeah, Apple Brandy, right? And a couple others. God, having a complete brain block there. It's funny because it's one of my favorites too. But just ones like that, those are going to be a little bit more extreme. This one's a little bit more tame, and it has a little bit more of a mass appeal to it. This one's gotten a ton of hype, more so than some of the others that have been released in this line. And also, a ton of clones have come out with this one already, like 3 or 4, I think, currently are on the market, which are great as well. But I'm kind of focusing on the main deal that started it all. To me, if you got the money and you want a premium product, this is worth it. Let's move along to Armani Code Parfum up next. Now this one has some tonka bean, there's a little bit of vanilla in here, and a nice iris accord. And so the way I describe this one is it's that original Armani Code Eau de Toilette DNA, but with a little bit of a modern refresh with the iris. And so it's a little bit similar to Code Eau de Parfum as well. I've seen people compare it to, but there are some differences being that this doesn't really have like the leather suede thing going on. It doesn't have just some other aspects of Code Eau de Parfum that are kind of missing from this, but this is still very similar and ties back to the original Eau de Toilette DNA. But again, just a nice updated twist to make it to where it's not at all redundant. And to me, if I had to choose my favorite, it would be the Parfum, talking just the original codes. You know, Code Absolute, Code Profumo, those are in a league of their own as well. But if you were to want to buy Code Eau de Toilette, Eau de Parfum, or Parfum, personally, I think the Parfum is the best one. It just maintains that DNA, but done in a really nice, classy way, and a little bit more of an upscale and unique way as well. Definitely worth checking out. Going back to a more affordable one with Halloween Man X. So this one has whiskey, tonka bean, and a little bit of a nice roasted coffee accord in here. Nothing too strong on the coffee. To me, it's all about the whiskey tonka sweetness, very sweet. And so, you know, you got to be careful for that. Make sure you're into fragrances like this before you dive right into it. That being said, at around $35, maybe sometimes $40, it's in that blind buy price range where if you're wanting to kind of get your toes wet into the kind of boozy, sweet direction, but still having something that's very safe and very mass pleasing, this would be a good one to start, and you're not out a ton of money if you end up not liking it. That being said, I think for those who know what they want, most of you will really, really like this one a lot, especially again when you factor in that price point to quality and performance ratio. This one checks a lot of boxes. We'll go ahead and hit up another niche scent next. This is the last one of the video. However, it's so affordable that it's designer priced. I mean, some of the designer fragrances I talk about on the channel with regularity cost more money than this, which is crazy. CEDRAT BOISE by MANCERA. On discounters, depending on if you get tester or full presentation, which by the way, testers 120 ml do come with a cap, so there's really no reason not to get them. This could be anywhere from $70 to $80. I think I've seen it as low as like $67 for the testers with cap. I mean, at that point, this is a complete and utter no-brainer. If you can get it for a good price and you don't have it yet, it is so worth it. It's got some fruity notes and a ton of woods, a little bit of a sweet kind of vanillic tonka bean mixture later on in the dry down, buried in the base. It's fruity and woody first and foremost, and from that you get some sweetness. It's not going to be super fresh and summery. It's more just all around, just kind of a neutral weather scent, fall and spring and that sort of thing, just when the temperatures are normal. And think of it as kind of like a climate controlled temperature scent. If it's, 68, 70 degrees, perfect. That being said, this one has the performance to work in wintertime when it's 30 degrees and below. Very strong stuff. But I just kind of see this as a kind of an in-between scent. But for the price, this is a complete must-have. How about YSL Eau de Toilette? So, of course, the Eau de Parfum has been hyped to the highest degree, and the Parfum is starting to catch on and get some traction as well. However, what about the Eau de Toilette? This one has still gotten quite a bit of talk because this was the first to come out, and it came out and it started to do well. But also, it's still, it has produced a bunch of flankers now. And when you talk about the flankers, this one gets brought up as well. And when you factor in the reformulation of this one, which is better than the original version, yes, this is an instance where I say the reformulation is better than the original formula. This is definitely worth picking up because of that added freshness and aldehydic smell. The Eau de Parfum goes sweet, the Parfum goes sweet. This one has more of that clean, fresh linens vibe, first and foremost, with a little bit of sweetness behind it. So I find this one more appropriate for hot summer days and that sort of thing, and it's going to be easier to pull off in a lot of situations where it is warm outside. Definitely worth picking up, and again, especially this new formulation. It's stronger, it has a little bit more bite to it, and it's the way to go. Running down to the end, Chanel Allure Homme Edition Blanche. So this has been dubbed as the lemon meringue pie scent. So there is lemon, vanilla, tonka bean. Essentially, it has a lot of the main accords of Allure Homme Sport and Sport Extreme, and the original for that matter, tying in that lemon, of course. But this is done in a way where it's a little bit more sweet, and to me, whenever I think of a summer gourmand, this is it. There are times in the summertime where, as much as I'm enjoying the weather, because I am a warm weather guy, as you guys probably know if you've been watching the channel, there are times where I think, I could go for a nice fall or winter day just because I'm craving a scent that isn't just nothing full of citrus and aquatics, right? Because there are times where it does start to get a little bit monotonous in the summertime. And so this kind of breaks that up. This has that summer gourmand kind of sweet little kick to it, to where if you're looking for something like that when it's warm outside, this one's great. Really delicious and smells amazing in the heat. And last up for this video, PACO Rabanne 1 Million Lucky. So this one has a bunch of interesting notes such as plum, hazelnut, aldehydes, a bunch of sweet ones, and it's going to have your signature tonka bean, right? I say that all the time. But it's a different take, and this was their approach of doing something a little bit different. There's also honey in here as well. I don't think I mentioned that yet. And so it's an interesting mixture, because you're getting a bunch of freshness with a bunch of sweetness, and then this kind of hazelnut smell, and then this sweet syrupy honey. It's a whole lot going on, but it's done in a really managed way where it doesn't smell too cluttered. It doesn't smell all over the place. It's blended to perfection, and I have to give it to them because this is much more interesting than some of the other stuff that they've been putting out. And so because of that, I think this is a great one that definitely is deserving of its hype, and it's one you should check out for sure. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. 10 hyped fragrances that you will fall in love with. These are definitely worth it in my opinion. I will link these down below. Remember to check out my community tab, posting deals there all the time. And if you want to make sure you get in on those deals, make sure you sign up to the mailing list as well. First link in the description, totally free, and I'm not going to spam you, but I will send out some of the best deals on the market for you, and you don't want to miss that. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.